Inside today's magazine, we revisit the evolution of technology, share useful information on the business of music. I'm Adrian Atkinson, and there is much more in our lineup, so please stay with us.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, October 18. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has confirmed that more zones of special operations, ZOSOs, will be declared as government moves to restore peace in communities across the island. The Prime Minister made the declaration in the House of Representatives this Tuesday.
Basically, the two zones that we have are what we would call now the test cases. We have had a year and some months to study them, to see the shortfalls, to see what legislative changes need to be made. And yes, to answer the questions, there are more zones coming.
Explaining why other zones have not yet been established, Mr. Holness pointed out that each ZOSO is a major undertaking that requires significant manpower and financial resources to execute the dual security and social welfare interventions.
I've said in this House on many occasions that we have identified so far 20 communities. It takes serious planning. It means that you have to increase your recruitment both in the Army and in the police. We have to make budgetary allocations. The Minister of Finance already knows what the outlay will be.
The Prime Minister made the comments as he successfully led two parliamentary resolutions to extend the Mount Salem ZOSO and the St. James state of public emergency. Jamaica will be signing new air service agreements with the governments of Slovenia, the Kingdom of Morocco, the Bahamas, and South Africa. Information Minister Senator Ruel Reid announced Cabinet's approval of the signings on Wednesday. He was addressing the post-Cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House.
Cabinet took special note of the outcome of the International Civil Aviation Organization ICAO Air Services Agreement, which since 2008 had provided states with an avenue to conduct air services negotiations or consultations. This is important in negotiating direct flights to Jamaica.
Jamaica has participated in 16 air service agreement negotiation sessions since 2008. Government will be spending $116.8 million over 4 years on a comprehensive review of Jamaica's education system. This follows Cabinet's approval for the country to participate in the Program for International Student Assessment, PISA, in the year 2021.
PISA is a triennial survey designed to evaluate and benchmark education systems through the assessment of science and reading skills. It focuses on the ability of students to apply unfamiliar context and facilitates the gathering of information pertaining to the education system and ultimately assists in enriching data analysis.
PISA will evaluate and rank Jamaica's education system against other countries. Pointing to the need for such an intervention, Portfolio Minister Senator Ruel Reid said the last comprehensive review of the education system was assigned to a task force established in 2004. Students at Hazard Primary School in Clarendon will have access to a new entrance, bus bay and sidewalk early next month. This is a part of the X Marks the Spot initiative, where government has partnered with UNICEF and the JN Foundation to build sidewalks and road signs across 18 schools. The project will be executed over 4 years at a cost of close to $1 million. Following a briefing with stakeholders of the Road Safety Initiative on Wednesday, Minister without Portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister, Mike Henry, said students would benefit greatly from the project.
And it's taking it beyond the relativity of just crossing the street safely. It's taking it into how you integrate culture, how you integrate history, how you integrate the development, which should be so important to us all, but is not necessarily done.
Participating schools were selected after child road safety assessment was done to identify zones where children are most vulnerable to incidents of road traffic crashes, injuries, and fatalities. The Caribbean Poison Information Network, CARPIN, is calling for a ban or reduction in the use of lead in locally manufactured paints. The group is also seeking a restriction on the importation of paints containing lead. Poison Information Coordinator Sharika Whitelock-Ballingsing says a petition on the matter will be made to the government during the observance of International Lead Poisoning Week. The week runs from October 22 to 26. Ms. Whitelock-Ballingsing says a report on the level of lead in paints in Jamaica will also be released to the government and for public viewing during the week. The study, which informs that report, was done between July and September and is part of a broader focus to build awareness that lead poisoning is irreversible and children are more at risk.
Children are not affected when the paint is in the tin itself or in the can. They're affected when the paint is dripping on the wall, when persons are refurbishing and they scrape the paint away and the paint dust, and sometimes the peeling from the wall, they'll ingest the paint or they consume it.
Ms. Whitelock-Ballingsing was speaking at a JIS think tank on Tuesday. As part of International Lead Poisoning Week, a public forum will be held on October 25 at the University of Technology. And finally, it's history for Jamaica once more as the Reggae Girls qualify for the 2019 World Cup in France. The girls secured their place after beating out Panama in a steamy penalty shootout at the Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. This success mirrors that of the 1998 World Cup qualifier of the Reggae Boys and makes Jamaica the first Caribbean country to ever qualify for a senior FIFA Women's World Cup. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has hailed the girls' historic win, saying it symbolizes the culmination of years of hard work and dedication by the team and management. Sport Minister Olivia Grange is also celebrating the achievement.
This is a glorious day. Words cannot describe this historic achievement by the Reggae Girls, who through sheer grit and determination in a game in which both teams went all out for victory, Jamaica came out victorious.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
You've joined me at the right time. I'm actually now on my way to explore some of the most historical and culturally rich sites in the parish of St. James. And no, I'm not talking about the popular Rosal Great House, Sam Sharp Square, or Doctor's Cave Beach. We are going to be exploring some of the hidden treasures. So tucked away in the corner of Creek Street and Dome Street in downtown Montego Bay is the Creek Dome Monument. Let's check it out. The Creek Dome was built in 1837 above a stream that gave the households of Montego Bay their best source of drinking water at the time. I hear that this actually used to be the home of the keeper of the dome, and that was someone who lived on the upper floor and took payment from those who came for water.
Remember, every time you take a drink of water, before everybody had this, we Montegonians had this.
I told you this tour would be dropping some history, right? After leaving the busy streets of downtown Montego Bay, we headed to the cool hills of Fairfield, where the 300-year-old Belfield Great House and Gardens is found.
Welcome to Belfield, one of the oldest sugar plantations in Jamaica. Okay, so this is an old great house in Jamaica, one of the oldest great house that was owned by 11th generation, still operate under the same family. It was built in 1735. These are pictures of the car jarrets. We're gonna enter one of the busiest rooms on the entire house, the dining area. Meals are always elaborate. As you can see the settings, it was elaborate. In the center of this table, you would have an old hog just for decoration. After eating all these, they would get sick sometimes and they blame it on the slave. Poor slave, it was from this fork. It was made from pewter and lead, so it's poisonous. Now we are entering to the master bedroom. As you notice, this dress is over 200 years old. And if you take it up, it can tear apart. As I exit the room, as you notice, the lush green grass that a lot of slaves were working on the sugar plantation, bending their backs and cutting canes. The sugar master would be using this to signal them. Today, this part of the property is used for weddings and private functions. It's also over 600 people. Oh, before I forgot, Sandria, I'm gonna tell you about our old Chattanooga. That is a miniature version of an old sugar mill. It is operated by our donkey, Wilhelmina.
Here you go, Sandra.
Thank you so much, Godfrey.
You're welcome. Please sit and enjoy.
Wow. And there you have it. If you're looking for a truly sweet and authentic Jamaican experience, you know where to stop. Thanks, Willie. So listen, after such a filling experience at Belfield Great House, we had to make one more stop in the hills of Anchovy. Trust me, the road may be rocky, but it will be worth it.
Welcome to Rockland, and you're going to feed some hummingbirds. You hold the bottle.
How do you hold the bottle?
It's like this. And then you put your finger sideways.
Sideways, okay.
And then the hummingbirds come and sit on your finger.
That was quick.
Your finger to go a little bit wider, 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 up.
And just when you think you have seen it all, visitors are able to savor this breathtaking view of Montego Bay from this cozy outdoor patio area, or enjoy a walk through the garden with our guide to learn about some of Jamaica's plants, trees, and herbs. Awesome. Thank you so much, Fitz, for taking me on this peaceful tour of the gardens and for allowing me to become one with nature. I told you wouldn't regret this tour. If you are a nature lover like I am, then the Rocklands Bird Sanctuary is a must-see. But a case can also be made for the Creek Dome Monument and the Belfield Great House. In fact, we barely scratched the surface. St. James has so much more to offer. So what are you waiting for? Get out there and explore all this wonderful parish has to offer.
Do you remember when we had to make telephone calls through an operator? Now we have cell phones to do it ourselves. And what about watching your favorite show only on television? Now there is the internet to see almost anything, anytime you want. Technology has evolved and there has been a great change. Learn more in the upcoming feature.
From live animal power to mechanized speed under the hood, narrow walkways and dirt tracks to multi-lane pavements and overhead carriageways.
The technology of transportation in Jamaica has come a long way.
Planes, trains, and automobiles on the Jamaican landscape have evolved over the decades and centuries. Go back in time, say the late 18th, entire 19th, and even the early 20th century, and you're likely to find these. A mode of transportation that involved harnessing the power of animals. The not-so-simple carriages of yesteryear are the precursors to the pavement-eating machines that now use motors designed to convert energy into useful mechanical motion. By the latter part of the 1800s, trams, horseless, metal, steam-powered carriages running on tracks were a feature of Jamaican roadways. They were preceded by the railroad, Jamaica being one of the first in the Americas. And by the mid-1900s had entirely moved aside to make room for the cars and buses that run independently on the paved streets that have been laid over former gravel and dirt tracks. After making landfall, the airways and sea lanes weren't far behind for motor technology. It's believed that the Jamaican skies saw its first plane in December 1911, when an American aviator, Jesse Seligman, took flight at the Knutsford Park Racecourse in what is now New Kingston. The national carrier Air Jamaica, now Caribbean Airlines, had its first departure flight to Miami on May 1, 1966. Commercial and domestic aviation is now a fully established mode of transportation for people and goods in Jamaica. The 1800s brought steamships, and steam vessels quickly made their way to Jamaican waterways, eventually making room for the motorized speedboats, heavy cargo ships, and cruise liners that we now find berthed at Jamaican docks. And after a long run, broken by about 2 decades of inactivity, passenger train service in Jamaica resumed in early 2011, at least on a trial basis.
The system of communication has had its own technological revolution, and Jamaica has steadily remained in the know. Did you know that Jamaica received telephone service just 2 years after the invention of the device?
In 1939, all major towns were connected through the all-island trunk telephone service. And April 1 was the day registered in history when the first connection was opened to the public, allowing persons to bypass the operator and dial direct. A few years earlier, 1936, brought the inauguration of a radio telephone service, allowing some people to speak directly with others in North America, England, Mexico, and Cuba. Then, the late 1900s and early 21st century witnessed an explosion of information technology in Jamaica. And going back, the earlier telephone technology had actually spawned its own offshoot in the telegram, a device somewhere between the paper mail and the type most common today.
Radio and television media in Jamaica have also come a far way. Telephone and radio had been around for quite some time, allowing Jamaicans to pick up foreign radio stations. But it was not until July 9 of 1950 that commercial broadcasting actually started in Jamaica.
That 1950s development brought us the Jamaica Broadcasting Company, later known as Radio Jamaica Limited, RJR. A cable radio service preceded it. Now, this came with a receiver box that would allow you to pick up the signal, and then you could listen.
The occasion on which I address you is somewhat historic because this is the first time that the head of the government of the island has been able to address the people of Jamaica through the medium of a Jamaican broadcasting station.
The birth of Jamaica's first television station, the Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation JBC 1963, was certainly a big deal. Through the decades, the spectrum has blossomed and satellites, cable and TV phones have made Jamaica a fully audio-visual nation.
Motorists. East Avenue of Marcus Garvey Drive in Kingston is temporarily one way. Coming from Marcus Garvey Drive, motorists are only allowed to head north onto East Avenue. Also, motorists are not allowed to turn left from Balmoral Avenue onto Maxfield Avenue. Chisholm Avenue and Oakland Road are also one-way roads going west from Balmoral Avenue. New traffic signals have been installed to indicate the short-term changes to the road network of Kingston.
There has been a series of conversations in recent times about the business of music, getting persons to see all the players and aspects of the industry beyond artists and producers. It's a business that has many fields. Here are some career options and their requirements.
There's a quote from recording artist Erykah Badu, who once said, "The music business is motivated by money. Music is motivated by energy and feelings." What say you?
The business of music now is to take all of that and turn it into making money, you know, as blatant as that.
This is Career Talk. I'm Kerry. Today we're discussing music management and more. Welcome.
They get the fame, top the charts, collect the awards, are recorded in the annals of history for speaking to the multidimensional spectrum of human emotions and experiences through the power of music. But the difference between them and the far greater number of musical unknowns is very often in the management.
Eptones, Ken Booth, Delroy Wilson, Alton Ellis. I mean, you name them, they came through my hands at some stage or another. I took Dennis to England in '74, the first time he toured. He was just about 17.
Junior Lincoln is one of a large and growing group of people who have merged a love for the melodic creation called music with a keen understanding of human behavior and a sharp business mind to make a living.
Some of the best artists in the world we don't know anything about. You can be the greatest artist in the world, and if people don't hear you, how are they going to know? And how are you going to be heard? It takes management. Music management is kind of complex.
But it comes down to one thing: overseeing the business affairs of musicians.
There's two sorts of management of an artist. I mean, the personal manager will look at how they invest their money, how they do all of that sort of thing. The other side now, which is the professional manager of the artist's career.
If you are looking to join this career field, be prepared to handle just about every aspect of an artist's career.
It is not something that you can go to school and learn. You know, it's something you learn over a period of time with experience.
But school can't hurt. In fact, there are schools here in Jamaica and abroad offering degree programs in music business or a straightforward business field that you can merge with your knowledge of the industry. Whether you begin with formal training or not, getting started in this career is tough. One route is to cultivate a relationship with an up-and-coming artist you admire and begin to manage that person, create an effective street team, and help the artist grow. Then there's another option.
You find a lot of big managers today, especially overseas, started with a company, and they would have maybe 2 or 3 artists under their portfolio. So you learn your craft there, but you have this big company behind you that you can rock back at.
Whatever in you use, remember this is not a job that will keep you confined to a desk or any other static location. You go where the business or the artist goes. And this is not a 9-to-5 gig.
No, it's the opposite of a 9-to-5 job because you're on the job all the time.
And it's a job that is in demand, a growth field as some would call it.
What you have to keep in touch with is the change. The changes that has come about in the business and continually doing so.
There are some other intangibles to consider.
Temperament is important. You know, it's cool when you have to be cool. Most of the time you have to be cool, but you have to be firm when you have to be firm. It takes man management.
It means navigating the many moods of artists, plus all the people around them.
I think we all know that people within the arts are a bit sometimes not so easy to deal with, for obvious reasons, you know. Very moody, you know, can be very strong in their thoughts and vision and whatever else. You know, there's got to be trust. There's got to be confidence, a whole lot of confidence in the management opinion and direction of that artist.
The music manager must also understand how to navigate the transition from an unknown artist to someone with a following and further a national or international career.
Once you get there, a very important part is to stay there. And management is very crucial to that because it's not just music anymore. You know, it's music plus.
Girl is hard on my behavior, say I'm a silver.
When will I see you again? When I find out how you can start your...
Speeding through life and the traffic lights till somebody get hurt and the tears start cry. Save a life for the kids, for you and I, save kids' lives. Make the road safe whether day or night for pedestrians, passengers, cars and bikes. Save a life for the kids, for you and I, save kids' lives.
Hey man, it's our job to keep the road them safe and protect care of the youth them so we know them safe and obey the road code. Don't race, no bother with the speeding case, make face and check your light them on your tires and brakes. Riders on the pillions who left the helmet. Put on the cell phone, no send no text, no matter what color they on your plate.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you can save a life when you're on the road. When you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt for keep you safe. And make sure your helmet's in place when you're on the road.
Hey, follow me. Well, everybody drive good and walk good. Then teach the youth them how to cross good. I beg you obey the road signs, park good. And put the young ones in a car seats, all good. And everybody drive good and walk good. And we say young and old, I beg you cross good. Remember the dark close at night, that is not good. From you I use up the sidewalk, it's all good.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you can save a life when you're on the road. When you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt to keep you safe. And make sure your helmet's in place when you're on the road. When you're on the road. When you're on the road.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JISnews. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.